Okay.
All right, I just hit record. And Javon, you're on the call line with us. If you can mute your phone until you want to speak, experience will tell us that we may get some feedback. So if you know how to hit that mute on your phone, that would be great.
I sure do. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Welcome to the very first Career Coaching with Corbett for the new year. I want to thank my friends who have come back. Raise your hands or undo your mute and say, I'm back for this is not my first time. So Lane and Brooke, so glad to see both of you again. Appreciate having you. If you're new, unmute your line and clap for yourselves because you've made it to your first Career Coaching with Corbett. There you go. Yay. Okay, well done. All right, so that's how we're going to mute and unmute the line. So let me explain how tonight's going to go. And Lane and Brooke can back me up on this. I really do not want to do all the talking. I think you guys will get used to the format. I'm going to make a couple of changes, Lane and Brooke, that I think you guys are going to like. So we are going to stick to the topic. So tonight we're talking about leading me and intentional growth. And some of you are going to say, Ms. Corbett, you were just at MSW orientation. I just heard you talk about attitude. But what Lane and Brooke are going to tell you is the more of these that you do, you're going to find that I repeat myself. Now, I'm repeating myself so that all of you can continue to integrate these concepts. So, James, what you hear today may not be what you're going to hear a year from now when we're still working together. So tonight, yeah, exactly, thumbs up. So tonight, for you, we might be talking about your attitude, and that may be what's relevant to Grace. For some of you, like Audrey, you might realize, well, I need to work more on reflection time. Christy, tell your children it's nice to meet them. Okay. We love when this is family integrated. Okay.
Sorry, they were just amazed.
Not a problem. I tell them we said hi and that their mom was learning, so we like it. So one of the other things I will do is I will actually share my screen with you guys. There is a PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to give throughout our time together. And I will pause and then be able to talk with all of you as well. If you like what you see, just get your phone out and take a picture of that one slide. If you want a copy of the slides, all you're going to have to do is send me an email, and I will send you the slide deck directly. And at the end, I'm going to ask all of you to send me an email so that I can put your email address in my Outlook for the university. And that way we know when Grace comes, she's going to be coming for a long time coming. Grace, Lane, and Brooke can tell you once the semester starts, I tend to keep up with those of you who keep up with me. So you just get some additional resources, if that makes sense. Grace, I'm picking on you because you're in my right-hand screen. I'll call on somebody else in just a minute. Okay, so what we're going to do, and here's what the format's going to be, is I will always ask you in the beginning of every session why you're here tonight. So you prioritize your intentional growth. You join Ms. Corbett and your colleagues tonight because. So why did you come on tonight's call? I'm about to ask a few of you. And then sometimes what's going to happen is you're going to have a call about your career readiness, or you're going to have a question. And so you're going to hop on Career Coaching with Corbett, and even though we're supposed to be talking about intentional growth, one of you is going to have a question because you have an interview coming up, or you want me to take a quick look at your resume and you want to share your screen. We will always incorporate whatever questions you have at the end of the session. Does that make sense? And Lane and Brooke can tell you sometimes I fly through the slides because you guys have more questions than I'm used to getting. It is our goal to always end at the top of the hour. It's my experience that some of you will stay on and say, Ms. Corbett, can I just have 5 minutes? Ms. Corbett, can I just have 5 minutes? So I plan my schedule accordingly. Lane and Brooke can tell you we tried to do these later at night. I am actually calling you from Pennsylvania. So when we tried to do these at 8 o'clock Central Time, that was 9 o'clock my time, which is my bedtime. So this is why we have chosen to go with this time. So we hope it works for all of you. And then if not, again, the video is going to start to be available on the website. Make sense? This is a yes. Okay. So whoever wants to go first, unmute your line. Lane, Brooke, why'd you come back? Audrey, Grace, Molly, I have the advantage of knowing your names. Why'd you come tonight? Anybody?
I came tonight because I don't have very much professional experience, and I feel like I need a little help on my growth plan with that.
Excellent, Brooke, and I appreciate your honesty. And I'm here tonight, 25 years later in the field, and I still need help with my growth plan. So that is one of the things that I want all of you to take in, that your growth isn't just about what you're going through as you're getting your MSW. This is a lifetime longing of information and how to better yourself. And you're saying, Miss Corbett, I just want to write my papers and graduate. I know. And you're going to have your MSW when you're done. But Brooke, you're exactly right. Part of this concept is it may be new to you, but I also want you to start to take in, how am I always going to benefit from some type of growth? Others, why are you here?
I'll go next.
Okay, go ahead, Audrey, and then Lane.
Okay. I came here tonight because I thought I was really impressed with the fact that the program offered career coaching, and I felt like when I finished my bachelor's degree, which was about 5 years ago, I did not get enough of that. And looking back, I thought I really could have benefited from that. So I was really happy to see that it was offered in this program. So I plan to take in as much as I possibly can over the course of the next 2 years.
Excellent. And Audrey, I do know what it's like. Just from a show of hands, or Jerry, you can tell us in the chat, or Javon, you can unmute your line. How many of you are currently working either part-time or full-time? It's probably most of you. Yeah. So,
yes, I am. Siobhan.
yeah. And so, Audrey, what I find is, if we can commit to at least 1 hour a month, whether it's a career coaching with Corbett, or you decide to take a break 1 month and you work on your resume, I think you won't be as overwhelmed when it comes to graduation. So thank you for your commitment. Glad you're here. Lane, why'd you come back, my friend?
Well, going off what Brooke said, for the experience and to learn every little bit that I can.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Lane. Anybody else want to add why they came tonight? I know you're very busy people.
Hi, this is Siobhan Patterson speaking
Yes.
again. I'm here primarily because I'm changing job field, rather, and I want to know more, I guess, about growth as far as the social work program is concerned. I'm coming from a legal background.
Sure.
So I'm needing a lot of coaching in this new area that I'm embarking on.
Excellent. Thank you, Javon, for letting us know. Is anybody else changing career, or thought they started studying one thing and then they chose to go into social work? So Audrey, you're in that same boat. So one of the things that will apply to all of you, when we start talking about professional networking, or we start talking about carrying that positive attitude, that's going to apply to whatever setting. So let me give you an example. You're going to be nervous. You're going to go in for your first interview in another couple of months. Brooke and Lane, you might be going into your internships at this point soon. So it could be an interview, or you might be showing up for the first time. Everybody's nervous. So whether you've changed careers or you're brand new to this and you've just come straight out of your bachelor's degree, part of what this information will do for you, it is going to boost your self-esteem. You will know what to do. So when I tell you to practice, and I say to get the mirror out, and Marley, you're saying, I don't want to talk in the mirror, Miss Corbett. I know you don't want to, but when I make these suggestions to you, this is how I got to be where I was for the last 25 years. So when I give you, it's really going to be practical tips, Javon, that I think you will find, oh, I did do that. I just did it in the legal community, but now I need to go and do it in the social work community. So we'll make sure we integrate. And Javon, just keep me in check if I don't remember to talk about if you're changing careers throughout our time together. One more. Does anybody have anything else they want to add? Jessica, Molly, Grace? Oh, let me read Jerry's. I really like the energy at orientation. Thank you, Jerry. I believe you want to help our future opportunities. That is certainly true. And you work full-time in the federal courts. And you'll retire the courts in about 9 years. Excellent. So we are glad to have you as your encore, Jerry. And we try to create that energy once a month to keep you guys going. Because for some of you, you still have a lot of papers to write because you just got started. Okay, so are y'all good if I get started? Show you a few? There we go. All right, excellent. Okay, so 3 principles that we're going to talk about today are going to be leading me. And in that, we will talk about positive attitude, using the mirror for self-reflection, and then we're going to talk about being open to coachable moments. So at orientation and Lane and Brooke, you know that I use the coachable moment as a framework. But tonight, what I want you to start to think about is, are you asking for coachable moments? Because some of you are going to report to people, or you're going to have a professor, and they're just going to put a big red X on your paper, which you're not going to like very much. But they're not going to explain why you got that red X. You're not going to always have the perfect professor. So the question is, are you asking for that coachable moment, even if it's not automatically given to you? And then I really want you to start to think about your definition of intentional growth. Yep, I know you're getting your MSW. I know you're studying, but I want you to start to think about, where do you need to grow? For some of you, it might be public speaking. For some of you, it might be your writing skills. For some of you, you are so nervous, the thought of walking into a networking event and saying, hi, I'm Becky Corbett. Lane, it's nice to meet you, you're scared to do that, right? So I want you to really start to think about, what do you need to do for your own professional growth? So let's start off with attitude. And you guys know I love talking about attitude. So who wants to go first? Why is it important to have a positive attitude? Anybody? This is the hard part. This is when I'll pause and make you talk. Good job, Jessica. Thank you.
I believe, I don't know, I kind of believe the positive life thing. I don't like to surround myself with negative people because that affects me. Yeah. And it'll drag me down in everything I do. That's just me personally. Yeah. And when you don't have a positive outlook and keep positively trying to do things, you can set yourself back, or you can become like content with where you're at instead of moving forward and progressing, because we can all progress at some point.
Absolutely, Jessica. So you guys know that I talk about Nana, my grandmother who lived to be 103 and a half. Now I want you to think about this. She worked every day until she was 90 years old. 90. Now she didn't work a full day, 10 hours, but she did do some kind of work well into and through her 80s. So that was her attitude. That was her thought. She could always learn. She could always grow. So Jessica, when you mentioned not surrounding ourselves around some negative people, I refer to them as toxic people as well. Can anybody give a tip on how can we separate ourselves from toxic people? What can you do, particularly while you're in school right now? Hint, hint.
Well, you just don't hang out with them, basically.
Exactly, Grace. You limit your time with them. Absolutely. Now, is that easy to do? For some people it is. For others, it's not so easy. We have a pack of friends that everybody's friends. But part of your growth and really taking in that self-reflection is, are you surrounding yourself around the people that are cheering you on? So Audrey, if somebody had said to you, well, why are you going on that career thing tonight? That lady's going to be a waste of time. She's going to be boring. You're not going to learn anything. What would you say to them? Because obviously you chose to come tonight.
I actually had a similar situation happen. And when I think about the negative people in my life and how to handle them, my thought was, well, if they're not family, then you don't have to hang out with them at all. Sometimes if they are family members, like in my case, you could totally cut them off. I choose not to completely cut them out of my lives, but I definitely minimize the time that I spend with them. And this person was a family member. And during a time when I was with them and they commented on the fact that I was probably too old to be going back to school, I let it go in one ear and out the other. And I know that their statement is a reflection of them. It has nothing to do with me.
That's a beautiful quote. Audrey, say that one more time. Unmute your line. That statement was a reflection of who?
Of them, had nothing to do with me.
I love when you guys get a slide ahead of me. That is awesome. I want to read. I want to read what Jerry wrote, and he said, "Optimism is a force multiplier," which is a quote from Colin Powell. And Jerry, thank you for adding value and adding that quote. Did somebody else want to say anything else about positive attitude?
Yes, Ms. Corbett, Siobhan again.
Yes,
I wanted to get back on what the previous speaker or classmate just said.
Yeah, Audrey.
Aubrey? Okay, Aubrey. When I decided to go back to school to pursue my MSW, well, I was met with a lot of negative feedback because I'm 52 and I'm proud to be 52.
Good for you.
I was told to go back to school. You're almost at retirement, so why would you want to invest in something, that expensive? Okay. And as you said, I consider it to be toxic. And it did play a part in me starting, I guess, I should have started a year ago, but I allowed that negative, feedback to stop me from pursuing last year. So I decided to disconnect myself from anything that's negative towards me pursuing my degree. I decided within myself not to surround myself with it. So it didn't feed into me and make me get negative and want to quit. I just wanted to add.
Thank you for adding, and I know you can't see Audrey and your other colleagues, but they're nodding in agreement with you. So a question for Grace. You're in the middle of my screen, so I'm gonna pick on you again, and James, I'll pick on you next, and then Molly. So there's the order. I'll ask questions when we get to the next slide to prepare you, because Lane and Brooke will tell you once you talk, then you don't stop talking on these things once you get used to it. So Grace, what do you do if a client has a bad attitude? What can you share with them professionally?
Well, I often have clients who have, I don't want to say bad attitudes, but attitudes that I don't prefer. We'll say that.
Okay.
And first, I don't let it get to me. When I was a rookie, it did get to me. I used to get really upset because I thought it was me. I thought I've made this client upset. In the context of what I do, I work with a lot of individuals who have mental illness. So I kind of look at it as they're here because they have a problem. If I were them and had this particular problem, I might not be happy either. So I try to use empathy, which is the social work thing we have to do.
Yes. Yes. Grace, well said. So when we talk about attitude, and again, this has to do with your intentional growth. Part of what I want you to do is to reflect yourself. When you walk into the classroom or you go online, because most of you on the call are actually online distance learners, where's your attitude? When you go into your internship and you know it's going to be a difficult client, please smile and say it's going to be okay. You have just a little headache and you really don't want to write the paper. Again, what are those positive attributes that you're sharing with yourself so you become a mirror when you start to think about how you behave to your clients? Because if you have a bad attitude, what's going to happen with your clients? Are they going to pick up on that attitude? Yeah.
They reflect what you are.
They will reflect what you are. And how many of you have children in the home? Anybody raising children? There's a few of you in the home. So you know, you walk in, you already know the routine. Your children are going, it doesn't matter how old they are going to react how you react as well. So our clients, just remember, we're a model when we're talking about our attitude with our clients. So now let's talk about looking inward for just a minute. Now you guys know that I'm going to ask you, are you a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 being the highest, how you see yourself? What I want you to think about though in the mirror is, where do you do your self-reflection? Do some of you journal? You get a B on a paper and you sit down and think, well, how could I have written it better? You go in, you have an interaction with a client or an interaction with a classmate or a professor. You think it didn't really go very well. Can anybody give an example of when you've really taken the time to reflect, an example that you're comfortable giving, where you have really given yourself that time to think, well, how could I have improved that situation? Or is this a new concept? To really give yourself some time to think about how you can improve yourself.
Hey, I've been doing a lot of reflecting lately. I just resigned from my job as a program manager in a substance abuse program to my degree. And
Yes.
so I know I have started journaling, something I haven't had time to do in several years.
Yes.
And just really looking at, ways to improve, because you get in a job and you stay in it for a while and you get in a rut, and and with the kids, and so I've really been trying to improve and do some self-care for myself that I haven't done in years, like starting to exercise. But I've just started journaling like last week, so it was funny that you said that, because I haven't had time to do that in a long time.
Yeah. So Christy, first of all, thank you for sharing, because you shared a lot there. I want everybody to unmute their line a second and clap for Christy, because she said the word self-care. So yeah. So let me remind you. Thank you. So Christy, a couple of things. One is, I love when you guys take the curriculum in another way, but this is a good way for me to get a plug in for that self-care. So I'm going to remind you, you're getting your MSW. Some of you have family in the home, outside of the home. You're caring for a younger sibling. You're caring for an elderly grandparent or elderly parent or great-grandparent. You have to figure out how you're going to take care of you. Well, Coach Corbett, I don't have enough time. I've got 2 papers to write. I didn't start until the night before. I just came home from the full-time job. I get all of that. So I want you to, and we talked about this at orientation, and Lane and Brooke, you haven't heard me talk about it in a while because your orientation was a while ago now. But where are you going to put in that self-reflection time? For some of you, it's taking a walk. It's going by water. For some of you, there's a special place in your house where you can go hide. For some of you, you're going to start journaling again. You can journal about your feelings of being in school. You can journal your anger because of the client that frustrated you the other day. You can journal about your professor, because that's your journal. So Christy, for you, if the journaling and the writing is working, I want you to keep on. And even if that's only 10 minutes a week, that's going to become your time for that self-reflection. Make sense? Okay. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Where can you self-reflect? Why could it be important to do some evaluation of your experience? Audrey?
I would say that I have gotten into the habit over probably about the last 10 weeks. I started using this running app, to start training for a 5K. And my morning time, I try to go about 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and that time has become a time of self-reflection for me, which I try to put myself in a park that's really surrounded by a lot of trees and a pond, and there are geese and ducks and all that stuff.
Good.
So I immerse myself in that environment, and that is a time of self-reflection for me. And I've found that one way that something that I use in situations where things didn't go as I had wanted them to, is to try to be non-reactive in the moment and try to take some time before you react to think about how you feel and what you want to say before you say it.
Exactly. Audrey, one of the things I want to add to it is, for some of you, you're saying, Miss Corbett, I've never reflected, I've never journaled, I've never gone for a walk around the lake. Do you really want me to try one thing? Yep, I really do. So if you've never done it before, and you can say, well, Miss Corbett, I'm only 20-something. Well, oh, Miss Corbett, I'm fine. I have no stress. Okay, well, call me in 3 months, because the stress will come. There will be a paper, or there will be something that will happen. Once you graduate, here's what's going to happen. Some of you are going to get married after you graduate. Then you're going to have kids at home. So these are lifelong lessons that I want you to start to incorporate now. So James and Molly, I'm going to read what Jerry wrote, and then one of you are going to tell me something you might try in self-reflection that you're comfortable saying to your colleagues. So Jerry just admitted that he was 47. Me too, Jerry. I'm 47 too. He has an internal debate about returning to school or not. So see, you guys already have your support group in here. And Jerry, you are 5. All of you are 5. And he clapped for Christy. So Jerry, thank you for your reflection. So Molly, James, if you like to go by Jim or Jimmy, unmute your line and tell me. But Molly unmuted her line first, so she'll take this one. Molly, what's something you can do for you, something you can try?
I do journal as well, and I also do yoga, which is good reflection time for me, and bubble baths.
Yes, very, very good. And Molly, out of curiosity, do you pick the same time every week, or do you put it on your calendar, or is this become a part of your life?
I need to be more consistent with it for sure.
Yeah.
That's something I could work on.
Yeah. So what kind of calendar do you keep? Do you use Outlook?
I use my phone.
Say that again.
My phone.
Your phone. Okay. So I'm going to challenge you from the time I see you again next month or the month later. I want you to actually put in your phone when you're going to do those things. And then you'll be able to see how you're taking care of yourself.
Okay.
Okay. James, do you want to comment on this, or do you want me to go to the next slide?
Actually, I tried a bubble bath the other day, and I found out I did not like it. I actually burned myself a little bit, but oh well.
Okay, yeah, you got to test the water, my friend.
I dove right in. No, I go on runs and walk my cat, which sounds weird, but no, it's fun. He loves walks, so I go.
Okay, wait. I got to ask, is the cat on a leash?
Yes.
Okay, so who wants to see a picture of this at the next Career Coaching with Corbett? Yes. So James, you are going to give us a picture of walking the cat. All right. And while we're smiling, I hope you know that I'm saying that in humor. So one of the things that we forget about in that reflection is you guys got to lighten up a lot. Okay. Brooke, Lane, you've been at this for a year now. You need to laugh 10 times more. Okay. So yeah. Oh, look, there's a cat behind Brooke. So Brooke, can you, James, thank you for sharing your story. These are great stories. Awesome. Okay, so that's me again, coachable moments. So to remind you, a coachable moment is taking advantage of a moment in time to give an individual immediate and specific feedback. So when you think about asking for a coachable moment, who would you ask for a coachable moment from that you would know, you like, you respect, that you haven't asked for a coachable moment? And this could be personal or professional, but how can you use that coachable moment?
Siobhan chiming in again.
Good.
I would ask my mentor. I have a mentor that has her PhD in sociology.
Okay.
And she's a woman of a certain age, so she's a little older than I am. A lot of wisdom. And she doesn't mind giving you and telling you just like it is. If you write something, she'll let you know that it may not be the best in the best grammar or the best verb subject usage, but she will give you feedback that will be beneficial for you. And I respect her wholeheartedly.
And Javon, what do you think that might do for your intentional growth, your personal professional growth, if you're the one that takes the initiative and you ask for the coachable moment?
So it'll take away, I guess because I'm 52, you would think that I would know how to write a paper or I would know how to do certain things.
Yeah, we're smiling. You can't see us, but I'm smiling. And yeah, you don't know everything at even your age.
No, if you do not. They take some of that, I guess, that pride that you might have built over the years because you're this professional and again, you're supposed to know certain things. They'll take away that pride that might exist. And not wanting to ask for help. Right. That's what it would do for me. Right. Because sometimes we don't want to ask for help because we think that we may just know everything.
Right. And remember, part of what we're all teaching our clients, it doesn't matter what setting you're going to go into or what setting you're already working in. Aren't you teaching your clients to improve themselves? So part of that mirror and that reflection that I want you to think about is if you're going to be a successful social worker and you're going to stay in the business, even in 5 years, even in 10 years, even in 20 years, what are you doing for you to keep growing? So those mentors that are in my life and have been in my life, and some of them I still meet with. I had 3 executive directors that I worked with for years. I still go to them for coaching. I still ask them to come hear me speak. And you're saying, well, Miss Becky, you've got 25 years speaking. I do, but I can still improve myself, and they're still my encouragers. Brooke, Lane, I'm not letting you guys off the hook. You knew it was coming. Who can you ask for a coachable moment from, or have you been doing this? Can either one of you share? Thank you, Lane. Lane, you go first, then Brooke.
Well, really anyone that you have trust in, that you know you can come to them and it's a good relationship and a professional relationship.
Yeah, so it's definitely somebody that you want to trust. It's somebody that it's already a good relationship, because this is about your growth.
And then building on top of that relationship.
Yep, and you continue to improve it. I like it. Thank you. Brooke?
Yeah, I guess if I had anybody I would ask, it'd be one of my old professors from my undergraduate degree, because I have a lot of respect for them, and I know that they would be forward with me about any situation. So
Excellent. Brooke, what does it feel like when I say to you in the next 30 days, I want you to call one of them up and ask them about something about you or your career or something you can improve? Does that give you the EBGB, or is that something you can add to your to-do list?
No, I'd love to. I miss them.
All right, excellent. Okay, I think you guys get that concept. Use that framework for coachable moment. Remember, you can give them. Some of you are supervising. Some of you are working alongside colleagues. You guys might have a group paper or a working plan together. Use that coachable moment in your own life, and then it becomes easier to ask for that feedback from somebody that you know, like, and trust. Make sense? Okay. So, intentional personal growth. I think we figured out the why, but I do love this quote from John Maxwell. Develop the right attitude, learn more about your strengths, tap into your passion, become more in touch with your purpose, and develop your skills so you can be all you can be. So when you think about your personal growth, what might you need to work on? Just take a moment to reflect. And if it's something you're comfortable to say out loud to your colleagues and to me, we then can become your accountability partners. So that the next time I see Lane, the next time I see Molly, and you guys know when I look down, it's nothing magical. It's my sheet of paper so I can keep up with everybody so that I get to know you. Because we literally have 400 students at one time that I could be working with. Just depends on who comes. Lane and Brooke can tell you the more you come, the more I know you, and it makes it easier for both of us. So I want you to take a moment and reflect, what might be something you could work on for you? And again, is it personal? Is it professional? It's both. So what's something, it doesn't have to be the 3 I highlighted tonight. You say it out loud, it becomes real. Then you write it down, then we become your accountability partners. Everybody's smiling, but nobody wants to have one.
I guess something I need to work on personal is when I do something negative, or I don't feel like I made this grade that I want on a test or final grade, I'm really hard on myself instead of thinking oh, I'll do better next time. I'm like, man, I really should have done my best this time. It's not a positive. I have to be more positive towards myself in work, and I feel like that's going to go over to my professional job. So
what can you do on a weekly basis to start doing that for yourself? What works for you? Is there a positive inspirational quote that you could find that you could put either strategically on your computer, on your iPad, by your desktop? Is it something that you could say, every time I get a paper, I'm going to remind myself that I am a 5 and I'm really good at what I did and I gave my best? What might work for you to start giving yourself those positive messages?
I guess just leaving little messages, like you said, around the house or around my work, and maybe that'll help me out more.
Okay. And Brooke, I may have mentioned this, the rest of you can nod because sometimes the speaking engagements roll together. I may have mentioned these 2 sites for inspirational quotes at MSW orientation, the last one, but let me give you guys 2 resources to go to if you don't already know them. One is Brainy Quote. I just love the name of its site. It was brilliant. It's BRAINEY and then quote. It's all one word. They also have an app that I just discovered and I put on my iPhone. So Brooke, when I wake up in the morning, it literally flashes an inspirational quote in front of you. You can select it. So you can put positive, thoughts. You can put in dreams. You can put in, you can search by person. So it's you can go to the website and just search different words, or you can pull down the app and you can actually create an image along with the quote that you like, and then you could print it, or you could just, save it on your phone. Okay, so that's Brainy Quote. The other one that I like is Good Reads, READS. I don't know if it's an S or not. I always forget if it's Good Read or Good Reads. One of you can look it up real quick and let me know. But that is actually quoted from authors. So same concept, but that site is specifically only for authors.
Thank you, Ms. Corbett.
You're welcome. All right, I want you to find one quote. The next time I see you, I'm going to ask you what the quote is.
Yes, ma'am.
I have them all over my house. Okay. Hey, James, did you see the cat that just went behind? Okay, I'm just teasing around with the cat. Okay. Give me another one. What do you need to work on? I'm going to really challenge you guys on this. Molly's smiling. She's like, Miss Corbett, do not call on me. I won't call on you yet, Molly. She's smiling. Jessica, I haven't heard from you in a while. Whomever. Somebody give me one.
I'll go.
Thanks, Jessica.
I've got a fake it till you make it type mindset, and I need to believe in myself more that I don't have to fake it, that I actually can make it. So it's more of a confidence thing, like
yes,
confidence in what I say and having confidence behind my voice, because sometimes in class I'll begin to speak something and I'm afraid it's not right or correct, so I'll kind of drift off and quieten out.
So Jessica, a couple of things. Did you graduate from high school?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you graduate from an undergrad?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get into an MSW program?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you fake it till you make it, or did you do all that hard work?
No, I did all that work.
You did all that hard work. So, yep. So we're going to stop saying we faked it till we made it, because you have made it. Okay. What would work for you to increase that confidence to speak up in class? Because you're doing great with me. This is a hard environment. We're having a group. You guys are awesome on the Zoom, by the way. I think we're getting better and better at it with each other. Jessica, you just spoke beautifully. There were no ums. You've made eye contact. You even looked up in the webcam. So what else can we do to increase your confidence?
I have to I will make myself do it. And although I may be anxious on the inside, I try to have a composed face and.
Yeah. And guess what? This is the best place to practice. So when we're thinking about your intentional growth and we think about what you're trying to do to improve, I want to remind everybody you have nothing to lose, right? It's just class. It's just Miss Corbett. It's just Professor so-and-so. It's just Molly, my colleague. It's just Grace. So this is the best place to practice that public speaking. It's the best place to find your voice. So Jessica, are you online, or do you go into class? Are you in person?
I'm sorry, my computer cut out. What did you say?
Yeah, are you in person? Do you go to class on campus, or are you online? Okay.
I'm on campus.
All right. How many classes do you take a week?
I go Monday through Wednesday.
Okay.
2 classes right now during the summer.
So, well, I'm going to challenge you. You're going to speak up in both classes every week.
Okay.
All right.
Yes,
and I know what you're really going to do is you're going to come back and say, well, Miss Corbett, I spoke up in one class. That's fine. So I want you to pick one class once a week to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
Practice that skill. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I do exactly what you're doing on this webcam, and you've got it down pat. You're doing great.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, give me another one. This is the hard part. What are you gonna work on? How are you gonna be a better you?
I'll share.
Thanks, Grace.
I think some of the things I need to start doing is to start sharing my goals and writing them down. I know what I want to do, but that doesn't mean my family knows what I want to do. So I think if they knew, they would be pushing me.
Yes.
I would have more support if I was to verbalize, hey, this is what I want to do.
Yes.
You know, no one knew I was going to grad school until I said, surprise, I'm going to grad school. You know, it might have been a little bit more easier if I would have told them, hey, I'm applying for grad school.
So Grace, a couple of things with that. Do you have 1, 2, or 3 goals right now that you could articulate to the family? Because we don't need to give them 10. I mean, I know you want to do a ton of things, but tell me just how many we want to articulate, and then I have an idea for you.
Okay, so goal 1 would be to get a supervisory role where I work now.
Okay.
Goal 2 would be to get admitted into a DSW or PhD program.
Excellent.
Goal 3 would be to enter social work academia. So
excellent. So here's what I want you to do. Do you like Post-it notes? Do you have Post-it notes?
I have Post-it notes, yes.
Okay, so I want you to take that 1, 2, 3, and by Friday, I want you to write those down on one Post-it note. Can you do that?
Okay.
Then I want you to strategically place it where you're going to see it every day. So it can be a mirror, it can be by your bedside, if you carry a calendar, wherever you would see it so that you read it. I want you to get used to seeing it in your handwriting. So
I can do that.
So what we know about journaling and what we know about goals, and I do goal setting with executives. I will not let them type them. I make them write it in their own handwriting. Now, sometimes we forget what they wrote because neither one of us can read their handwriting, but it's your handwriting. So I want you to say, those are my 1, 2, 3. First step is you need the visual for yourself so you believe it. Then you can start sharing that sheet of paper with whomever. You can take a picture of it, you can send it out, or you can make a copy of it like I would have in the old days. But first I want you to write it so that you can see it for yourself. Okay? Okay, good job. Let me have one more. What are you going to do for your growth? This
Coach Corbett, Javon, and
Javon and then Audrey. We'll take 2 more. Go ahead, Javon.
Okay. I need to work on balancing my time. And the reason why I say that is because I work full time and I teach Sunday school every Sunday morning. I teach a Wednesday night Bible study class, and I have a women's class I teach one Saturday out of the month. And all of those sometimes are very demanding because for some reason everyone thinks they have a lot of wisdom, so I do a lot of phone calls. And with those phone calls, sometimes the conversation can be an hour long.
Yeah.
Well, now since I'm in grad school, I need to find a balance, not to, I guess, shun anyone away because everyone's, I guess, when they're called, the call is legitimate, but I don't want it to, I guess, feed into a time when I need to be studying and or doing homework.
Right.
So that's what I need to work on is balance. And not to mention, I have a 22-year-old daughter that's a senior in college as well, and a mother that I help to take care of.
Sure.
So balance.
So Javon, I hear you on the balance. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips, and so I'll talk to you, but I think everybody will be able to relate. So the first thing we have to do is we have to figure out how many hours we have in the day. So I first want you to take that Monday through Friday. If you're working, you know you have to go to work. If you're in class, you know you have to go in class. For some of you that are doing distance, if you're not physically in class, I hope that you have figured out when you're going to do your work, when you're going to study, and you've blocked that time off. Okay, you got to go to sleep, and you got to do a little self-care. I want you to continue to teach in church or to teach and be a part of the women's group, but now we've had to add that study time. So you may want to think about telling everybody, hey, I'm so excited. I'm now working on my MSW. I still can take phone calls, but when we used to talk for an hour, we're going to need to only talk for 15 or 20 minutes. And then I want you to set your alarm on your mobile device, and you're going to have to say, I love talking to you, I've got to go to the next thing. But use that coaching moment to tell the family up front. See, somehow this is amazing. I've had 10 of you who have shown up tonight. You committed your time and you made this important. So, Javon, I hear you, it's a balance, but I also want you to be realistic. How much time do you actually have right now? Does that help?
Yes, it does.
Excellent.
It does. And I'm gonna try that. I am.
Okay, excellent. All right, so you're going to keep me posted. I want you to be more cognizant of how many hours you actually have next week. And then we're going to have to limit a few of these activities. You'll get your degree, and then you can increase them again.
Sounds like a plan. It does.
Excellent. Excellent. Audrey, do you want to share yours?
Okay, I was kind of reluctant to share this because I don't know, I didn't know if I want to be held accountable for it, but I know it'll be for my best, so I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Well, okay, good for you. Wait, pause a second. We don't even know what you're about to say, but everybody take their, unmute their line and clap for Audrey because she's stretching herself. Okay. Thank you. All right, go for it.
Okay, so I know that my thing that I really could have benefited in the past and will continue to need to benefit from in the future is I have a real hard time networking, especially like creating professional relationships. I have been a single parent for a long time, and I learned early on that the best way for me to learn to get things done was to do it myself. And so I became isolated to a certain extent, and I became comfortable with that. And so I've been in jobs in the past where it felt really awkward, and I felt kind of strained to make like professional networks and relationships. Yeah. And I know that that's going to hold me back if I can't improve on that.
Audrey, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Couple of things about networking that I just want to kind of lay this groundwork, and then clearly the night that I talk more about networking, try to make that call or at least listen to that one. Next week, next month, we're going to be talking about creating your personal brand, which has to do with networking. So here's kind of how I want all of you to start to think about networking. You're a single mom. You did theoretically do everything alone. However, there was still somebody who looked out for the child when you are in class or at work. So when you think about networking, I want you to think about you're gathering people in your life who are going to help you grow. You're not using them. They're not using you, but we live in this complicated web, right? So Audrey, you and your colleagues need to be commended for tonight. I could argue that you guys have been networking for the last 54 minutes. Networking is just building relationships, right? One day, one of you is going to hire somebody on this call. One day, Molly's going to need a resource, and Lane is going to be the one that she's going to go to that mental health center, and Lane's going to be the one that's going to find the resource for the client. So when you start to think about networking, just get rid of the word networking. Get rid of the fact that you have done it alone, and all single parents, all parents are to be commended what they do, but your network is your group of people, right? So Audrey, congratulations. You just increased your network because now I'm in it. So I want us to start to think about networking is relationship building. So what you just did tonight, you just practiced it. You went out on a limb. You spoke up beautifully. You're meeting your colleagues. I'm looking at the list over here. Half of us are over 40. The other half have either raised kids, and we don't want them to come back. Javon, I got a 21-year-old who's a senior, and I just hope and pray she has a job next May, okay? So, Audrey, does that help? We're doing the networking. You're in it, my friend. So, congratulations. And we're just going to keep reframing that networking is relationship building for your career. Does that make sense? Does that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, networking is not a bad word. We're just going to think of it as relationships going forward. Okay. So, I messed that slide up. So before I send it out, that's supposed to be 1, 2, 3. So I want you to fill in the sentence for me as we are wrapping up for tonight. I will develop a personal and professional growth plan because. Have I convinced any of you on the call tonight? Have you listened to each other? Why is it important to have a personal and a growth plan for yourself? And if all of you say no, just, I'm going to delete this and I won't tell Dr. Williams. I'm just kidding. Why is it important? What did you hear tonight? What was helpful?
Well, for me, it gives you a goal to strive for, and it gives you a purpose in your existence.
Thank you, Lane. Well said.
I would say because we are always going to be, we're lifelong learners.
Yeah.
And so personal growth and self-development is just is another aspect of that.
Yeah, excellent. Others? Why is it important? What are you modeling, and who are you modeling it for if you believe in your own personal growth?
Future clients.
Yeah, it's your future clients. So one of the things I want you, thank you, Jessica. One of the things I really want you to start to take in on your growth is you are in the people business. You're in the change business. That's the degree that you're getting. If you're not growing, if you're not changing, if you're not trying new things, why would your clients try new things? So it's a little uncomfortable at first. You'll notice that we just had a pause. You know, we created a pause and I waited until I heard from somebody. You're going to be doing that your entire career with your clients. You guys are in an academic setting. You're used to speaking, and Lane and Brooke, you know, I'll just call on you till you speak up, right? Because that's my style. So when you think about that growth, I want you to really start to think in, well, who are you modeling it for? You're the recipient. It's going to help Grace. It's going to help Jerry, right? It's going to help Molly. But I also want you to remember in that mirror, those two mirrors, you're modeling it for your children. So Christy, if I'm reading correctly, you have triplets. God love you. So you are modeling that behavior literally now, right? They were curious, what's mom doing? So we waved to them on the webcam. I keep joking, I want to do a session with all the children and kick y'all off because I love working and playing with children. So I want you to really start to think about this intentional growth. It is about you, you're improving. But what's that mirror you're holding up for a niece, for a nephew, or even for your clients? Does that make sense? Okay. I just want to read what Jerry wrote. And Jerry, thank you for the comments as well. That personal growth plan is a map. It's an outlook. It's a plan. And all professionals need some type of focus. Well said, Jerry. Thank you. So our next Career Coaching with Corbett is July 6th. We are going to be talking about creating a professional brand. And when you think about creating that brand, just something to start to think about. You know, how does Molly want to be known? How does Brooke want to be known? How does Lane want to be known? I'm well aware that I bring energy to conversations. Well, that didn't just happen. That was a brand I created that I worked on. I'm well aware that I put you guys on the spot. And I call on Grace, and I call on Jerry, and I call on James. That was part of a brand that I wanted when I worked alongside of students and my other clients. So we're going to talk about your brand and how do you create that brand in July. You guys know that I'm always setting the stage for a higher salary upon graduation. So unmute your line, and together you are going to say, never, ever, ever accept the first offer. And you're going to say it 3 times. All right. Are you guys ready? All right. 1, 2, 3. Let me hear it.
Never,
Ever take offer.
Again.
Never,
Ever accept the first offer.
Okay, look up and smile. I'm taking your picture saying it.
Never take the first offer.
All right.
That was
We will
awful.
keep. All right. Couple of things. I will send this to you, but the link and the phone number that you have for tonight, Lane and Brooke, you will be very excited about this. This is the link and the phone number we are using for the next 10 months. It's not going to change. And these dates are not going to change. If for some reason something happens and I can't be on Career Coaching with Corbett, I will send one of my fabulous colleagues to do it. So our next date will be on Thursday, July the 6th. The next one that I want to highlight for you is they did move. I don't know if any of you have been to the school's website, but I want to make sure that all of you have the new link to where we're going to be putting new and improved information for the job preparation. So you can either go to the school's website and then look under student services to find career services, but this is the exact link to the page so that you have all of the information. I would like to ask all of you in the next day or so if you would send me an email to my account. First of all, that's a way for you so I know you know how to reach me if you have a question for me. I will be checking emails on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you make a special request, it may take up to a week for me to respond to that. But I wanted you to do two things. When you send me the email, if you will tell me that you participated tonight, I wrote down all of your names, but this way I have your email address so that I can send other information to you. If you want a copy of tonight's slides, just let me know that in the email address. Let me ask, how many of you have a signature line already? Some of you heard me talk about the signature line where you put your formal information, your name. Grace, you have one. There's a few of you raising your hand. If you go to the web page, I added the resource on how to do an email signature line. So when you email me that you were on tonight's call, so I'll have your email address. And if you want a copy of tonight's slides, just say, Ms. Corbett, please just send me a copy. If you want to practice your email signature, go ahead and practice, and I'll comment on it on the coachable moment so that you can start signing your emails professionally now. Audrey, that's one step in that professional networking process, is that people would know how to find you. Many of you already have a signature line item because you're working, so this is one that you're communicating when you're looking for jobs. Make sense? All right. Thank you for shaking your head. Yes. And Jerry, thank you for writing down never ever accept the first offer in the chat room. And then I just want to highlight that the more of these you come to, you will be entered to win a special prize. I haven't decided what the special prize is in May of 2018. So it's a little incentive to know how many that you come to. If you're unable to come to one, but you choose to watch the video, send me an email. And you can still count. Again, you don't get course credit for it, but I promise it's going to be a really cool prize in a year. Finally, how to find me. If you want to take a picture of the slide, or again, if you ask me for the slide deck, this is how you can keep up with me. If you choose to start a LinkedIn account, I will link with all of you. However, you need to have a professional looking picture and you need to have some information in your LinkedIn. But this is how you can get additional information on what I do related to leadership and productivity in my day job, which is the company that I own. With that said, I know it is 8:05. Does anybody have any questions or any comments? If not, let me ask two of you. What did you like about tonight? And are you going to come back, Lane and Brooke? So anything, what did you like about tonight?
Siobhan, again, I like the camaraderie with my classmates and my colleagues. Good. And listening to the different perspectives on the topics that you brought to our attention and all the information that you shared. I thank you for it. I really do.
Thank you, Javon. And I want to highlight the first thing you said. These are designed so that you guys get to meet each other and you hear from each other Grace, you're not the only one that hasn't written down her goals. James, you're not the only one that tried a bubble bath and didn't like it. Audrey, you're not the only one that's not quite sure about this networking thing and you don't really want to do it. I think what you'll find over time is you have a lot of commonalities and you can really help encourage and support each other with that. One more comment. Anybody, what'd you like about tonight? Audrey?
I like how you talked about subjects in general that could apply to each of us, but you also gave each one of us a little bit of an individual one-on-one at the same time. So you covered a lot in 1 hour.
Thank you. I tried to do that. And those of you who, as most of you on the call, we thank you for trying these. Brooke and Lane can tell you that this is the style. So if you come back in July, this is what you're going to get, right? Brooke and Lane, shake your heads. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Audrey, I appreciate your comment on that. That is our goal, that we are able to have the one-on-one, that I do feel like I can talk directly with each of you. But at the same time, we have that group atmosphere. And saying that, that's part of what I'm modeling for all of you. You're going to be doing group therapy. So when Lane asks a question, when James asks a question, I try to respond to that person, but then generalize it to the entire group. So when people said to me 10 years ago, Becky, you left clinical work. No, I didn't. Exactly what I do with all of you for your career coaching is exactly what I used to do with my clients at the mental health center. So this is group therapy. Congratulations. You just did career services and group therapy. Well said, Audrey. Does anybody have any questions? Anything else to add? I really want to thank you guys for staying on the call. I know we got started a few minutes late. I will stay on. If anybody has anything individual, I'll stay on. I will pause until everybody hangs up if anybody needed anything individual. If not, everybody unmute their line and say roll tide and good night.
Roll Tide.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Audrey, are you good or did you have a question?